The Bene Gesserit schools are all-female institutions aiming to enhance human potential, maximizing an individual's mental and physical capabilities. They are often called witches and believed to have magical powers, but they are just well-trained in controlling and manipulating the human body. The acolytes and sisters that complete their training in the way of the Bene Gesserit develop unparalleled skills and abilities, unmatched by anyone in the known universe. In school, they study languages, politics, espionage, and other subjects in preparation for their roles as members or agents of this secretive organization. But their physical and mental training throughout the years involves developing certain skills that set them apart from other factions. The fundamental principle underlying the Bene Gesserit's training philosophy emphasized the notion that mastering self-control would lead to mastery over the universe. The training program is based on a series of progressively challenging exercises spanning over years. This allows the student to gain mastery over her mental and physical abilities, as well as learning how to influence others. The objective of the training is to guarantee that the student can control her abilities regardless of the circumstances. However, this training had a critical flaw. Exceptional control might foster excessive confidence, eventually leading to overconfidence and a complete loss of objectivity, culminating in vanity and pride. As a result, candidates were consistently assessed and assigned tasks that required collaboration with individuals more skilled than themselves. Certain exercises were deliberately crafted to deter any sense of pride in the students regarding their increasing capabilities. As a filter for selfish individuals without self-control, the Sisterhood is testing everyone trained in the way of the Bene Gesserit with the Gom Jabbar. This determines if they can control their animalistic instincts for survival by enduring excruciating pain. Fully trained sisters have the extraordinary ability to manage every muscle and nerve within their body, right down to individual fibers. They excel in the arts of Prana and Bindu, this being the cornerstone for developing control over mind and body, with the training beginning from a very young age. In Chicabsa, the native language of the Fremen and studied in schools by the Sisterhood, Prana means nerve, and this term is used in conjunction with Bindu, which means muscle. In the early stages, the objective is to achieve a state of full concentration by detaching from all distractions, critical in developing observational skills. Despite the initial complexity and time-intensive nature of learning this, 10 years of dedicated training allows a Bene Gesserit to seamlessly execute the entire process in under a second, having mastered each step individually before integrating them into a swift operation. Developing this skill involves breaking free from the constraints of conventional human perception of time. In concentration mode, the concept of time dissolves, allowing for the management of activities concurrently, unbound by temporal limitations. They also learn the Litany against fear, which serves as a powerful tool during times of extreme peril, helping to subdue instinctual and primordial fears. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it is gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. As they improve on those elements, the students begin to learn more advanced things. The Bene Gesserit sisters master a dormancy trance used to slow down bodily functions to a point that just barely sustains life. This trance is valuable for surviving dangerous situations and is essential for cellular rejuvenation and healing wounds. After completing the training, a sister possesses the ability to regulate her breathing and heart rate so precisely that she can feign death to nearly all examinations. They can also control their hunger and thirst to extreme levels, and can even choose to end their own lives by stopping their heartbeats or shutting down their brain functions. During a typical day, a student would dedicate hours to learning languages and other subjects, and then she would dedicate additional hours remaining completely motionless, either lowering her body temperature or slowing her heartbeat, carefully moving one muscle at a time as she documented her body's stimulus response patterns. This exceptional control over mind and body led the sisterhood to create their specific fighting style termed the Weirding Way. It is a form of hand-to-hand combat used by individuals trained by the sisterhood, giving them unparalleled combat skills. The technique involves moving and attacking with such a speed that it almost gives the opponent the impression of teleportation. Not even the Imperial Sardaukar or the Fremen of Arrakis can stand a chance in terms of technique, speed, and resourcefulness. During the reign of Emperor Paul Atreides, this became an integral part of the Fremen's fighting style, being extensively used during the Holy War. The Bene Gesserit undergoes rigorous training to attain mastery over their internal organs and body chemistry. They develop the ability to neutralize poisons by altering the chemical composition of harmful substances within their bodies, effectively rendering them harmless. This skill is employed by women aspiring to become Reverend mothers in the ritual known as the Agony, when a sister consumes the Truthsayer drug or the water of life utilized by the Fremen. This toxic substance would be lethal to anyone who cannot transform its molecular composition after ingestion. If the sister completes this process, she gains access to the combined memories of all her female ancestors. This is called other memory, resulting in a sudden and vast increase in knowledge. The ego of the combined memories remains a distinct identity within the Reverend Mother's mind, capable of emerging into her consciousness during appropriate or emotional moments, but the Reverend Mother's ego remains dominant. Simulflow is the ability that allows them to manage multiple streams of consciousness at once. The combination of Simulflow, with their analytical abilities and other memory, is responsible for the frightening intelligence of the Bene Gesserit. When a Reverend Mother is dying, another Reverend Mother can connect with her consciousness and collect the memories to prevent the loss of the ancestral knowledge. This practice is particularly crucial in the event of the Mother Superior's death, ensuring the seamless continuation of their plans and strategies. In school, they also learn how to analyze the food that they eat, being able to break it down into its ingredients and even chemical composition. The precision with which they control their body chemistry is astounding, allowing a Bene Gesserit to significantly slow down the aging process. But such an endeavor remains unexplored, for fear of drawing undue scrutiny to the sisterhood and exposing the depths of their capabilities. The most important ability for the sisterhood's plans and ambitions is their capacity to regulate their fertility. Women trained in the way of the Bene Gesserit can manage their menstrual cycles and determine the sex of their child at the moment of conception. Having the power to decide the timing of the pregnancy and select the gender of their offspring allows them to produce children according to the genetic breeding program. For over 10,000 years, the sisterhood has carefully chosen certain genetic lines of the great houses to help them create the Kwisatz Haderach. The sisterhood is renowned for the expertise in the art of seduction, sex, and sexual imprinting. Individuals who hold positions of power or exhibit qualities deemed valuable by the organization are often sought out by a Bene Gesserit imprinter to be part of their breeding program. Only the most talented sisters become imprinters, and once a male has fallen under her spell, he remains influenced by that powerful sensual tension, leading him to become unconsciously agreeable towards the sisterhood. The Bene Gesserit wives, concubines, and mistresses are instructed most of the time to give birth to women while waiting for the right time to create a male. According to the breeding program, Jessica was instructed to bear a daughter, who then would use the Harkonnen bloodline through Phaedrotha to give birth to a male. But Jessica decided to give birth to a boy instead, thus producing herself the Kwisatz Haderach. Throughout years of training, students also develop enhanced awareness. They are able to notice to a terrifying degree details that others miss. Minor shifts in air currents or the layout of a room enable a trained individual to identify concealed openings or life-threatening things like hunter-seekers. This skill is crucial in detecting spies and assassins, especially face dancers, who could take on the physical appearance of other individuals. Even subtle changes in a person's voice or small physical reactions allow a Bene Gesserit to gain profound insight into a person's emotional state and influence it accordingly. This heightened level of perception can be further enhanced by substances such as spice melange. An example of this ability is showcased by Jessica as she arrives on Dune in the first book. She used her hyper-alertness when she first met Shadow Mapes, knowing that the Fremen had a weapon concealed, which turned out to be a crysknife meant as a gift. She was also aware that something was wrong with Dr. Yue in her discussion with him, but she was not able to realize the extent of his betrayal. On the other hand, Truthsayers are specially trained Reverend mothers, being able to tell if someone is lying or telling the truth by identifying changes in someone's voice, examining their body movements and gestures, and analyzing physical indicators such as heart rate. The capacity to assess the truthfulness of others is a fundamental human skill, yet it demands significant training to become effectively developed. The ability itself is referred to as truth sense and is mainly developed and used by the sisterhood, even though a genetically gifted individual like Paul Atreides can be born with it. Reverend Mother Mohiam was one of the most celebrated truthsayers during the reign of Emperor Shaddam IV, serving as his personal advisor. The second principle of the Bene Gesserit training philosophy is to master the ability to control others, whether as individuals or the masses. The voice is the most iconic Bene Gesserit ability, but also one of the most advanced and hard to master. Even though at first sight it gives the impression of being some sort of magic power, the voice is actually a neurolinguistic control mechanism. It operates by triggering instincts and desires in the subject, not by forcibly controlling their mind, but by using the power of suggestion. A Bene Gesserit uses her vocal cords to create the perfect vocal tones within a specific audio frequency to gain control over an individual or group. When the subject is under the influence of the voice, it becomes nearly impossible to resist following its instructions because, at that moment, there is an unconscious desire to comply. It serves numerous defensive and offensive purposes and can be employed during interrogations to extract information on specific matters or to advance the sisterhood's agenda, especially in moving forward with the genetic breeding program. However, they try to keep this ability secret as much as possible because extensive use would risk their position within the Imperium. If the Bene Gesserit would use the voice, left and right, everyone would try to find ways in which to counter this ability, thus making it a lot less unpredictable and impactful. The sisters themselves are trained to resist the voice, but there are also other individuals who possess the potential to develop heightened resilience against this manipulative power. One example would be Paul Atreides teaching Duncan Idaho Gola and some of his guards how to deal with it in Dune Messiah. But the most efficient way is dealing with the sound waves, with methods of resistance coming through technology, such as the cone of silence, used to electronically distort the human voice in a small area. There are some women specially gifted that could manage to control large numbers of people in any situation and could even control other Bene Gesserit sisters. During the last 3 years of schooling, a candidate delves into a series of courses aimed at understanding the dynamics of managing extensive groups of individuals and entire cultures, with a focus on the intricacies of collective behavior. Throughout the concluding phase of their education, they study history, mythology, anthropology, and politics. These classes remain largely theoretical, except for the cases where a woman intends to wield political influence upon graduation, or is being prepared for a position within the organization. Missionaria Protectiva is a special training program focused on instilling cultural shifts by implanting mythological narratives. It is also termed religious engineering and is described as the purposeful instruction of the masses. This is responsible for planting the roots of superstition within primitive societies, paving the way for the sisterhood to capitalize on their evolution into full-fledged legends. Harnessing the potency of religion, the Bene Gesserit wields significant influence over society in general, using the power of faith as a tool of manipulation.